GetBearBasics.com. If you have dry hands, damaged skin, or you just want smooth, supple skin, Get Bear Basics. It works. Absolutely it does. Welcome back to the channel, and my name is David. On today's episode, we'll be talking about the difference between a sow and a boar. This is the #1 easiest way to tell the difference between a boar and a sow, is height. Even the biggest sows will not get as tall when they're on all fours as a boar will. Their backs will be about to the second ring of the barrel or just above. And here in this clip, this is one of the biggest sows I've ever seen. So let's have a look. You can see she's real thick in the back, like real wide. Real wide. And here she's going to come in front of the barrel, and you can see that she has to lift up her head to even just get to the top of the barrel. You can see it, her back's not that much above the second ring. Right there you can have a good look. For comparison's sake, let's look at this boar from 2014. He squared 6'6", and his skull went Popinjong, just over 18. As you can see, yeah, his back goes right to the top of the barrel. So, very easy way to tell the difference between a boar and a sow. Okay, this is a sow, and we know it's a sow because it has a cub. That's another way you can tell that a bear's a sow if it has cubs. But the important aspect here is to look at how big that bear is in relation to the barrel when it's lying on its side. It's basically her walking in. Her back's not that much above the top of the barrel when it's on its side. A decent boar could actually put his legs over top of that and have the barrel right underneath them, and he could be on all fours. Sure, a really big bear could be flat-footed. A bit smaller boar, or like a medium to big boar, would maybe be on his tippy toes a little bit, not have his paws flat, but you can see it's basically a barrel walking. So if a bear comes in and it's not bigger than the barrel when it's lying down like that, don't shoot it. Her head's not even that high above it, so it's not a shooter bear. Even if a bear comes in that size and it's a boar, well, you don't want to shoot tiny bears. Like, let's give them a chance to grow up here a little bit, right? And so then you won't be shooting tiny bears, which is fun because no one wants to do that. And you aren't going to be shooting a sow, so you're going to be happy about it. You don't want to be shooting a sow and then the cubs come in later looking for mom and you just shot the sow accidentally. So that's why I'm doing this, so you avoid doing that. For comparison's sake, let's see that boar from last year. He likes being on the channel. You can see, like I was saying earlier, that barrel could fit right underneath his belly, from the belly to the ground, and he could have all fours on the ground. Maybe not flat-footed, but he'd be able to do it, where that sow would basically have her paws like lifted up off the ground. She would just be teetering on it. She couldn't have it all, like, she'd be, yeah, sitting, lying on top of the barrel. She couldn't be touching the ground at all. Here I have the sow and the boar side by side just for comparison's sake. You can see that the boar is well above that barrel, and that sow, it's just basically her nose is level, or just up above from level of that barrel when it's on its end. So this is just a good comparison for you. You can freeze the frame here now and study it, take a screenshot, do what you want. Just a bit different perspective here, so you get a bit more of an idea. So pause it again, take a screenshot if you want, so that you can study this a little bit. All right, just to reiterate here and really drive the point home of the height and how it's the easiest way to tell. You can see that giant sow is well below the barrel. You can see that decent boar is right at the top of the barrel. That bottom line represents where the sow's back approximately would be, and the top line represents where that boar's back is. So you can see there's quite a bit of difference even with the biggest sows, right? They're just going to be short. That's just their body structure. Short from nose to tail and short when it's on all fours compared to the barrel. Yes, you can check out ankles. Check out all the ankles. I'm actually encouraging you to check out bare ankles so you don't shoot a sow. Let's have a look at this giant sow from a few years ago. You can see she has tiny ankles. Her front legs have small ankles. That's what we're looking at, the front part of the front legs here. And they are small ankles. Mature bear, big head, big round head, which would fool a lot of guys if they didn't have, if she didn't have cubs coming in, she might get shot. So that's why we're looking at this. When I'm talking about ankles, I'm talking about the front legs, okay? That's what we're looking at. We aren't looking at the rear. It's much easier. The front, it's very distinct. It's the easiest way to tell. Here they are, side by side. Wow, that sow, she has a giant head, round, relatively small ears, and on the side of her head. So, man, guys would shoot her, would be very tempted. But you see the boar on the right? He's long from nose to tail, quite a bit longer, you can tell, and he is taller. If there was a barrel by the sow, you'd see that, but we're looking at the ankles. So take a look at those ankles on that sow and on that boar and compare them. Pause it, take a screenshot, do what you need. Now this is a close-up of the ankles. As you can see, there is a bit of a difference. Again, screenshot it so you can study it. And just one more time, this is really distinct here when you come back further and see it. It's really pronounced. So this is, you know, one of the ways you won't be shooting a sow if you look at their ankles. So yes, head size, we all want to shoot a bear with a big, giant melon. But the thing is, if I'm going to go over and tell you the characteristics of a sow's head versus a boar's head, well, I've seen a lot of big-bodied boars with tiny little pinheads that you would be like, oh, I'm not shooting that. But it's a 7-foot-plus bear and well into the Pope and Young records book, and you're not shooting it because it appears to have a small head. Well, look at the sow. She, like I said, she has a giant head. Now, this walks in on its own. Doesn't have any cubs. You're a new bear hunter. You aren't really paying attention to the ankles or how tall it is compared to the barrel. All you see is a big body because she's chubby. She's roly-poly. I'll get to that in a minute as well. And her head looks big and round. So you're going to shoot. But that's why I don't really stress to look at the head, because now it's just going to confuse you and you're going to be like, well, it had a big head, so I shot. But then you ended up shooting a sow, and then maybe a couple cubs come running down the trail after you shot, and you're going to feel horrible, and no one's going to be happy with it. So yeah, you can tell there's a definite difference between this sow and boar's head. The boar's head actually does not look impressive. The sow's head looks much more impressive. But I can tell you, I did shoot that boar. I passed him up on one day with Noah when Noah shot his first bear, and then I went back and I was like, well, it's a nice bear. It's a nice bodied bear. It was 7'1" bear, and its head went 19¼ so well into the Pope and Young record book. But if we're just comparing head size, guys, I think the sow's head looks a bit nicer. For me, it looks more mature, looks what we would consider a big bear head. So keep shooting bears with big bodies, and you're going to shoot some big-headed bears. If you feel compelled to describe a bear as roly-poly, don't shoot. That's going to be a sow, or it's just going to be a small chubby bear, so you're better off not shooting. See this bear, it's coming in. Guys would describe this one as roly-poly. But as you can see, obviously it has a cub there. You know that it's a sow, but if it didn't, a lot of guys like decent head on it too. Its back is real wide and thick. So don't shoot a bear that you would label or describe as roly-poly. look for height. Make sure it's as tall as the barrel or as close to the height of the barrel before you start considering shooting it. If you don't wait for that, then you're going to have to be very certain that it's not a sow, and especially not a sow with cubs. So then you're going to have to be doing a lot more checks on it. Number 2, look for ankle size. Really important, especially if the bear has a big round head, like that other bear that I showed you. It has a big round head, but small ankles, and short from nose to tail, and the height isn't there. It's going to be a sow. Don't shoot. Number 3, head size. Not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Like I said before, it can be confusing. And if you're a new bear hunter, you don't need to be starting to think of all these different formulas or rules with a bear's head, because there's a lot of boars out there that are nice, big, mature bears that appear to have pinheads, and you'd be passing up a bear just because it appears to have a small head but it has a giant body. So don't worry about head size. Worry about height and ankles. Number 4, if you have to describe or feel compelled to describe a bear as roly-poly, don't shoot. It's going to be a small chubby bear or a fat sow. So don't do it. Well, that's it for me. I hope you found the video informative and educational, and now you can go out there and be confident that you're not going to shoot a sow if you follow these 4 simple rules. They're very easy, and that was the goal of this whole video, is to keep it simple and easy so that when you're in the moment of truth, you don't have to think too much of it. Consider buying a hat, consider getting bear basics, and if you want to hunt bears with me in Manitoba and you're a Manitoba resident, hit me up at RattlingJunkie@gmail.com. Later, guys.